Okay, and we're live. This is the OSRA client meeting for Sunday, February 22nd, 2015. Here we have Raneem, Tarek, and Ahmed, and from the dev team we have Christian and myself. So as usual, let's ask the client for a little update on how things are working, and then let's talk about any issues that there might be happening with the application, and then the dev team will give you a little update on what we've been working on in the past week. So, how is the application?
Raneem?
Yes, it's good. Actually, we uploaded about 3 orphan lists and everything went good. But there, as we told you, some issues related to, we will talk about them now.
Okay.
Do you want to start directly to the issues?
If there's no other general feedback for the application that you have, then yeah, sure.
Do you want to say anything else, Tarek?
No, thank you. We are talking about.
Okay, first starting with the filters. We have in the sponsor page the filters. There is no filter about the sponsor name.
There's no filter for sponsor name.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't have filter. And also the orphan page, the orphan name also.
So maybe you are looking for a search box for the by the name of the orphan of the sponsor.
Yeah.
Which we can put. We can search for a certain word, and the program can give us, or the application can give us all the names with this word.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that seems like a major oversight. Actually, I'm surprised how we missed that. Okay.
And the birth date also in the orphan page.
Okay. And birth date. Okay.
Yes.
When you say birth date, are you talking about just the year or the entire birth date?
I don't know. Tarek, what do you think about it?
I prefer the year.
The year, okay.
Yes.
So let's change that to birth year. Okay.
Or we can put it as a range, maybe. Is it better? From year something to year something.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we can explore that and see if we can do that. Okay. Any other issues?
Yes, in the sponsor page also we have a field named fulfill, I think.
The request, if the request fulfilled.
Yes, request fulfilled.
Yeah.
Can we have the number of active sponsorships near to it, next to the fulfill field? If it is not fulfilled, the request is not fulfilled. Let's say it has 3 active sponsorships from 4 requested sponsorships.
Okay, so you want to see that the request is not fulfilled, and because here, if you can see my screen, right under request fulfilled, we have the number of active sponsorships.
Okay.
But this is not quite what you want. Is that how I understand it?
Can I clarify? May I clarify?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Next to the request fulfilled, or under it, we want to see the number of the linked sponsorships slash the number of the requested sponsorships. Let's say that the first sponsor requested 4 sponsorships, but we just linked him to just to 2. So we want to see that it's 2/4. That means he has 2 linked sponsorships out of.
Okay. I understand. So
yeah, and if it is fulfilled, so we will see 4/4.
right. Basically, you would have in this case, so one was fulfilled no, you would be able to select 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4.
We don't mean the filters. We mean the fields.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, right here. Okay. All right. Okay, that actually, that is definitely easier and certainly makes a lot more sense. I'm sorry.
Just number.
Yep, I understand. Okay, so sponsor has a field request fulfilled. And we want to display, let's say, active sponsorships over requested. Yes, okay.
Exactly. One more issue. When we want to link a sponsor with an orphan, can it be able to sponsor more than one orphan at a time at the same process?
Right, so basically if we say we go here to a sponsor, we say link to orphan, and maybe there's like a checkbox.
Yeah.
We say this orphan, and then you click some kind of a button that says sponsor the selected orphans. Okay, yeah, we can explore that. So this is sponsor.
We can choose more than one orphan at the same process.
Right. Okay.
So these are the enhancements, I guess, right, Ray?
Mm-hmm.
Are these all the enhancements, Ray?
Still one more about uploading the list.
Yeah, this is the comments, but for the enhancements, these are all the enhancements.
Yes.
Now we have some comments on the uploading the orphans list.
Okay.
Go ahead, Amy, please. Amy?
Yes. When we uploaded the list, we have some cases that some records that we don't have the dates, like the father's death date. We still don't have it.
Okay.
But it is mandatory. So we want to have a solution for these cases. There are lots of them, actually.
Okay.
Some mandatory fields that we don't have them yet.
Okay. And this is specifically father's date of death. And
the birth date of the orphan also. The problem is with the dates. The other mandatory fields we could handle it. We put null in the text boxes. It doesn't matter, but the dates it refuses the null values.
Yes, it does. So
how can we work around it?
Well, the very easy workaround is to basically to say that these fields are not required. The issue with that, looking into the future, is that if we now import these records with missing, for example, orphan birth dates. But okay, from now on, we want to make them mandatory. The orphan records that are already in the database with a missing birthday will become invalid, and the application will refuse to process them. So it's easy to switch from required to not required, but we have to be very, very careful switching from optional to mandatory. So we will have to ensure before we make that switch, we will have to make sure that every single record that is already in the database has those values in it before we make that field required. So it's very easy for us to do what you're asking, but basically we just have to be aware of the consequences in the future.
Okay.
No, actually, making them not required also maybe will make a problem. What if we forget to enter the date?
Right.
What if it exists, but we forget to enter it?
Yeah. Okay. So do you have any kind of a solution for this, or would you like us to try to come up with something ourselves?
Actually, I have an idea, but I don't know how it's comfortable with you.
Well, please, let's discuss it and
I don't know. I think what if we make the date field as a string, and we verified it within the program, not in the database. So in the program, maybe if it is a null value, it will insert it in the recurse as null, and if it could be converted to a date, it will save it as a date.
right. So that more or less is how optional fields work. Is that if you don't provide it, then null is inserted into the database. I guess
I mean that it will be required, but as a text.
As a text. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And the verification will be inside the code. Verification about the date.
Okay, so if you, let's say, if you save a string, for example, you say none for birth date, and the database is, we can accept the string input instead of a date. If we perform a validation on it, I think we will run into essentially the same problems, that it will try to convert that string into a date, and then that conversion will, of course, fail. I think what we can do, maybe, is if we agree that if you don't have a date of birth and if you don't have a father's date of death, then there is a specific string that you put into those fields.
Exactly.
Okay.
A unique string.
Yeah. Okay. So what can you think? What would be your preference for a string like that?
Let's say n over a, or not, or anything that is unique, that it's impossible to be within a record.
Okay. So basically, then, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Sorry for interruption. Radim, why you don't talk about the other solutions you came out by it, which is 00/00?
Yes, we tried to enter 00/00/2010, for example, but for sure it was refused because it is not a valid date.
Sure. Okay.
And this is a good string example that it is impossible to be a date, real date.
Yeah. Well, in that sense, I think either not available or none or 0000, they're essentially the same thing. They're just a string, and we agree that if that string is entered, then we don't try to perform the validations. So we just need to agree on the format, and if you're happy with not available, that's fine. Or if you would prefer for it to be 00, that's no problem either. All we need is consensus. Is not available okay for you, this NORA, or would you prefer something else?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What do you think, Tarek?
As you like. All the same.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'll add some notes. Okay. Is there anything else?
Yes, there is the last point.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure about the values that I'm going to talk about. The father is martyr.
Yep.
Value is verified to be yes, no, right?
Right. Yes.
And the father alive verified to be in Arabic موجود أو متوفى. It's an Arabic value.
Okay.
Right, Tarek? Tarek?
Yes, I'm here. If the father is martyr or no, when we put no, actually, I think it was there is a refusal from the application for no, as I remember.
Let me check very quickly.
Please.
I guess I won't see anything here. Let's go back. So I have in our configuration file, there's basically a mixture of English and Arabic. And of course, I can't read Arabic. I'll do this. Let me share the whole screen.
Okay, fine.
So the father values are here. And is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, this is the other issue.
Right.
If he's alive or no.
Okay.
Okay. In the application, we are using the Arabic value now. But I think by the last data collection sheet, we changed the Arabic value to yes or no, Y or N.
Okay.
And we prefer to use this in our data collection instead of the Arabic value, so it would be easier.
Okay.
For you and for me.
Okay, so this is for. I'm sorry, which field again? Father.
The father alive or no?
Okay, for father alive, prefer to use yes, no instead of Arabic. Okay.
Right. The other issue, if the father is martyr or no. As I remember, I'm not sure. When we tried to upload our last orphans list, when the father wasn't a martyr, the application was refusing this value. May you check this?
No, into this field if you put N.
If we put no, yeah, it shows an error.
Okay. This I will have to check. I don't think I can do it right this moment.
Tarek, it refused the father alive to be no, I remember? Or
Yeah.
the father is martyr?
Yes, you are right.
The father alive to be yes. It refuses the father not to be dead, right? Or I'm wrong?
If the father was alive, it was refusing. The application was refusing the orphan.
If father is alive, father is martyr can't have any value.
Yeah, for sure. If the father alive, it shouldn't be a martyr.
Yeah.
But if he's alive and he's not a martyr for sure,
he should accept no.
Yeah, it should accept, the application should accept that, but it's refusing this because he's not an orphan. So, but we have some special cases, as we talked before. When we sponsor some orphans with alive fathers because they have some sickness or something, and also in this case, if the father is alive, so the date of death should not be mandatory.
Right. Okay. We have. I know that the logic that we have in the application right now for making all these cross checks it's not implemented ideally, let's say. So it's possible that there are some kind of logical inconsistencies between all these fields. So what we will do is we will go over all of these different sort of possible combinations of, if father is alive, then he cannot be martyr, there can be no date of death, etc. And then we will we'll make sure basically that the application accepts when all the data is consistent with itself, then that the application accepts that orphan record. Was there anything else?
Raheem, do you have anything else?
No, that's all. That's enough for today.
Okay. Can I ask, is this the first time that you've tried importing records with where the father was alive?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So,
because sorry, no?
Just wanted to say that line that you're trying to write now is father alive, app refusing no for martyr, right?
Okay, sorry, so can we clarify this again? What exactly is the application refusing to accept?
Refusing to accept the alive fathers.
Okay, so if father alive is set to yes, then you cannot import that orphan.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have another validation here. If the father is alive, so the date of death should not be mandatory.
Okay. So, and that's what you see, that the application is demanding that there be a date of death?
Excuse me?
Do you see, when you try to import records where the father is alive, is that the error message that you get, that the application tells you that there has to be a date of death?
Yeah, it shows two errors, that the father cannot be alive, then the date of death is missing.
Okay. And just since we have this point right above that you prefer to use yes and no instead of the Arabic values for father alive, are you sure that this is not related?
Yeah, it's not related.
Okay. Okay. We will look into this. And it sounds like we should make this a priority, because if you cannot import orphan records, then obviously that is a major problem. Okay, so we'll prioritize this. Okay, is there anything else for us to discuss then, or for you to tell us?
From our side, this is everything for now.
Okay. So I just would like to quickly give you an update on what we've been working on.
Please.
Team size has really shrunk in the past few weeks. We've lost at least half of our team members. We're hoping that some of them will come back sooner rather than later, but for the time being, it's basically Christian, myself, and another developer, Gabriel. I don't think you've met him, who are working. And Christopher, another new developer, has joined just recently. So things are a little bit slower than, well, maybe not a little bit. Things are slower than they used to be, but we're still making progress. So specifically, some have been regarding sponsor email validation. I know that you said that it's not a strict requirement, but we already were working on that feature. And so Christian has implemented a validation that should be more stringent than what is there right now, and it should hopefully catch the errors that we're slipping by. Christian is also working on not allowing start dates that precede OSRA establishment. So that's in progress. And the other thing is we have implemented this workflow when you're entering sponsor records to save and create another, so that you basically reduces the number of clicks that you need to make. After you enter one sponsor record, you can immediately go to the next one, entering the next one. And this functionality is ready, and we're just waiting for the team to review it to make sure that everything is okay before we deliver it to you for review. And the last the last enhancement was this: names should not allow special characters, but as I recall, we still need a clarification from you on what special characters are and which special characters should not be allowed. So we haven't been able to make any progress on that. But yeah, for the time being, I think this is the summary of what we've been working on. If you would like, either right now or later on Google+, if you can give us some information about what these special characters are that should not be allowed for sponsor names, then please do so, and then we will implement that check. But other than that, we have enough to do, and with the enhancements and the comments that you made tonight, that certainly gives us something to do as well. And like I said, we will prioritize certain things so that the application is functional, and then perform those enhancements that you mentioned. Christian, do you have anything to add?
No, everything is covered.
Okay. Okay, so Ahmed, Ranim, Tarek, do you have anything else for us?
Thank you for your...
No.
Thank you.
So Craig, Pavel, and Brian have left?
Craig has been very busy. He hasn't really left, but he hasn't had any time to do development. Pavel has left. Well, at least temporarily, he is relocating with his family and basically to another side of the world. So it's taken a lot of time and effort for him. Brian found himself a new job, so he now gets paid to do web development during the day, and so he doesn't have a lot of time to dedicate to OSRA. And he on a regular basis, he sends me messages that he really misses OSRA and how great it was to work on OSRA compared to what he has to do for his real job. So I'm hoping that means that at some point he will find the time to come back to us.
It's good news to know that everybody is doing well. Actually, I was just afraid that there was something wrong with us or something wrong with what we're doing, or
No.
It's been something we didn't do right. Or that's it.
No, not at all. I think everybody has a lot of enthusiasm. We're just, I guess, all of us are struggling to find time to dedicate to this. But yeah, I haven't heard a single negative thing about the project from any of the developers, so I think everybody's happy.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's good to hear that everybody is doing well.
Okay. So if there's nothing else, then, well, as usual, of course, if you have any comments for us, then please use Google+. If you can give us a clarification on those special characters that should be excluded from sponsor names, then, again, please post a message. And we should deliver some stories for you for review, I think, in the next couple of days, because, as I said, several of them are complete and ready. And then we will try to work as fast as we can on fixing, and hopefully during this week we will be able at least to tell you what's going on and what we think, how long it will take to fix it.
Great.
Okay.
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 So thank you very much, and see you next week.
Also, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 All right. Well, we got something to do, huh?
Yeah, but, like we don't have enough.
Right.
The tasks that we have to do are growing faster than we can cover them.
Yes. I am. I guess I'm puzzled by this, but the fact that the application is refusing to accept live fathers, considering that was implemented as a separate feature, and I think it was quite well tested from what I remember. But
Oh, I don't remember it.
yeah, well, yeah, we'll have to. I mean, what I said to them is true. Those validations on the orphan that have to do with the father are complicated and they're not implemented very well.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are all these kind of interdependencies. If the father is alive, then he cannot be a martyr. There cannot.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So actually, you know what? I have some code that we might be able to swap in, because I was at one point I was refactoring the orphan model and I extracted father into its own model, and the validations that I implemented in there, I did them differently than they are currently in the orphan model. So perhaps we can just swap that code in, but I'm still confused because I thought that what we had, it wasn't pretty, but I thought that it worked, but apparently it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Some logic here it has to be checked again.
Yeah, it's all these if unless clauses. it's not surprising that something gets kind of lost in the process. Okay, so I'll enter these things into Jira, and we can go from there. And I guess that's all there is to say about it. Yeah. Some of the stuff might be a bit tricky, this sponsor orphan link, being able to create sponsorships.
That would be a lot easier in Rails.
Yeah, it's a shame that we have to spend this double effort now, basically, to do it.
Yeah, well, we can push that for later, maybe. I don't think it's important.
It's a couple of extra clicks, basically, but it's not the end of the world, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Kristen. Oh yeah, I don't know if you saw Christopher's pull request about the orphan controller and views.
Oh, not yet. I didn't look over anything.
Yeah. Like he effectively implemented everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in a single pull request, or almost everything.
You mean all the CRUD operations?
Almost all, yeah. There are a few things that are missing, but yeah, like he labeled it as a work in progress, but yeah, it seems that instead of just picking one of those individual subtasks, he basically went for the whole thing. So we'll have to be careful how to, to make sure that there is no overlap between anything else that anybody else is doing and what he's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, since it's similar with the other partner and user, it's a lot easier to look over it.
Sure. And actually, I thought when I saw it, I wondered how much easier it might be if a single person does all that, because then there isn't any, well, I did it like this here, and you did it like that there, and, my way is better, no, my way is better, and yeah. Okay, I haven't gone through it. I basically, I've looked at it, but I haven't actually reviewed it, the code, so that's still to come. All right, so Scrum on Tuesday then, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hope I'll get my system back until then.
Yeah, good luck with that. All right, I'll take care then.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Talk to you soon. See you.